Okay. Hi there, guys. Welcome. And once again, I apologize for being late. Today is the 28th of April already, and welcome to Bretton's Financial Trading Wednesdays midweek webinar. So here we're going to be usually looking at what has actually happened, but mainly going through your trades and also giving you more of an insight or in terms of guidance on what to trade and what are the opportunities that we can actually capture, because it's already midweek. So with that, just before we get into a couple of pairs that I've been monitoring, also we've been talking about it with most of the traders as well, riding along the trend that are best to ride along for the short term, medium term, or even long term. So before that, let me just go very quickly onto the heat map here, just so that we get a little bit of an idea of what's going on in the market. And this is your Forex early warning heat map right here. Let's just talk a little bit about what's going on as of now. As of now, in terms of Asian session as well as the European session, in terms of pairs that are actually going active, we can actually see that the US dollar has actually has risen up a little bit. So hence the reason it's been quite complicated or a little bit confusing with trading gold as well, because it's been very confusing for the past weeks, especially, and also this week, on what has actually happened in the US. And a lot of things has been mismatched in the US, and then suddenly we had the tax cut, the capital tax cut, 44+% cut by Biden. It was a proposal only, but has actually moved the market quite a lot. So we have had that as a risk event. We also still have the ongoing COVID situation. So we've got countries like Japan that has actually announced emergency in Tokyo and basically shut down, locked down a lot of other cities as well, two other major cities. So this has a lot of impact in terms of transference of assets and also trend. So this is one on the COVID situation globally as well as in the States, but mostly in Europe, especially in Italy, France, Germany, and we have other countries globally as well. Now, apart from that, we also have the issue or problems regarding the lowering of yields before, as of last week, this week as well, a little bit, where it has actually caused some pressure there. But then all the mix with what Biden have actually announced with the taxes, and then the COVID, and then the current economic situation doesn't actually really match with what's going on. Yes, we can take a look at that, Alfred. Thank you very much. And we can go through them. Give me a second. So let's talk a little bit about, always want to look at the trend as of now. Okay, so whatever that we are talking about now, because the market is really volatile, it can actually change at any moment of time, because it also does depend on your trading style. So your trading style, mostly, I mean, in Asia, especially, traders are more attuned with intraday. So intraday meaning within a day, and you like to have like short-term trades, including scalping trades, 20, 30 pips, 10 pips, maybe some people scalping aggressively with only 5 pips. So if we are looking into that kind or that style of trading, just to fish pips within a day and many trades within a day, many other pairs as well, then we are also not trend trading, anti-trend trading. So that would actually require a little bit of adjustment as well for most of the people who are used to trend trading. Like me, I'm only sticking to trend trading for myself. So I would actually be looking at it for a period of time, and then I will stick to one direction, and then I will leave the trade open as long as it should be, but it's usually a maximum 2 days, 3 days, that kind of thing. So with intraday, let's look at the short term at this moment of time. When I actually present the heat map as well, I want to start with intraday short term first, and then we go onto the chart, okay, so that you know what you can actually trade for now. It doesn't actually mean that it is the trend. Because it is short term, it may not be the trend. It may only be what's going on for now, and maybe a correction, maybe a continuation, but it is not the overall trend. But we will look at it on an overall trend as well, but that should actually be looked at only from 4-hour chart, daily chart maybe, and above. That would actually then help to know the overall trend. But that overall trend is not what you should be trading if you are short-term trading. So if you're short-term trading, you're only thinking about now. You're thinking about what to actually do now and what to write as of now. That's it. Okay, so let's start with that short term first and look at the market trends as of now. Now, with Asian session, European session, we can see that the build up of USD in terms of market bullishness, so that the USD is already picking up at this moment of time. Now, we have not enough market participation on these pairs, on the major pairs at this moment of time, especially with the European American session. So when I say not enough participation, it actually means that even though you are trading in the short term, you might find it not moving as fast as you want it to move, mainly because it could actually be of many reasons. One of the reasons could be that the traders and investors are also waiting for bigger events to fuel the movement and the liquidity of that pair. Okay, so last night, for example, it has actually moved quite a lot. I mean, for the last couple of days, since Monday, it has actually moved quite a lot because of the fuel, because we've also mentioned on Monday itself that it's quite a busy Monday to start off with this week. So that has actually fueled more volatility. So I'm expecting more volatility, and I think we have got quite a number of, give me a second, quite a number of economic data that are categorized under medium to high impact. So this is quite important for us. So Wednesday, the 28th, today we are looking at ECB's President Lagarde's speech. Very, very important, very high impact. So that would actually revolve around the Euros movement and the Eurozone in general. Then we've also got Canadian retail sales. That's not been out yet. We have federal interest rate decision. So I think the ECB, and then you've got the USD Federal Monetary Policy Statement Conference and all that kind of thing. It usually comes in a package when it comes to the States especially, but most of the other countries as well, when it comes to interest rate decision, it will come in a set of three. That means it will come with the interest rate decision, then you've got the monetary policy statement, then you've got somebody speaking in the press conference where questions and answers and all that. And that these three usually will fuel the market with more volatility because of the media. So mainstream media will digest and summarize all the thing and put it out there. Then the sentiments of the traders will come in. So we are looking at major pairs movement quite a lot today, mainly because of the set of three that will be started by the US. So just before US Open as well, I think we are looking at volatility picking up. So let's get back here a little bit. Now here we can actually see a lot of volatility, a lot of participation, I think liquidity as well for CHF pairs right here. As you can see, the bars are quite long, and all the other pairs seems to be bullish against the CHF, which basically means CHF is on the low side. So we have got CHF being quite bearish, okay, for today. So CHF bearishness is picking up. It looks like it's picking up. It's picking up the most, I think, with GBP in the in the European session. So GBP CHF is looking like lots of bullishness there. The jump is quite high. So we want to look at GBP CHF and all the other CHF crosses as well. So we want to also look at USD CHF because of what's going on in the States with the set of three on economic data. So this will actually help help us to actually trade intraday and short-term trades many times per pair because of the volatility that is expected. Okay, so I want to look at USD CHF. Of course, I want to look at, because it's best to actually follow what might actually move the market and what are the risk events, and then you pick the pair following what's going on in the market. So in my opinion, CHF pairs would probably be quite nice to look at. We've got a lot of participation there. If you look at the others, they don't really have as high participation like this one here. The euro, even though we have got the euro announcement, ECB, but we are not seeing the participation as yet, but we see some bearishness taking place for the euro, especially the euro versus the GBP. So and then we see that the rest, for example, GBP pairs may be higher volume, higher participation, more people are entering it. So hence the reason we want to pick sort of the right pair as well, and we want to look at just roughly on Action Forex as well, which are the top 10 movers for the day, because this will give us a little bit of an idea, because sometimes we tend to pick the pairs that we think could actually offer us more opportunities, but sometimes it offers you the opportunity, that window of opportunity is too small because the big boys are not participating in that pair. So if we are looking at a pair and then it is good for now, it may not be good for later on. It might actually trap you for later on, and then you've got sideways market or doesn't actually move, and then your focus will actually be on that pair, and then you would probably miss out on the other ones that are actually moving quite fast. So we want volatility to feed our profits as well, and also to hit the TP, because if you are an intraday short-term type trader, you want to actually trade with high volatility, but of course carefully as well, right? Because if not, then your intraday trades might not become intraday if you have not picked the right pair. If you pick a pair that is good for now, the next 1 hour only, then later on that pair will actually drag your time, and then you have to actually leave that trade, and you're wondering whether or not you should close it. And if you think that maybe the trend will come back later on, the volatility will come back later on, then you won't close that pair, then that pair will not become an intraday trade for you. It'll become a long-term trade, and then you get trapped with that, and then your focus will actually get distracted with that pair alone. So we don't want to do that. So here, for example, if I go on to the daily chart, here under the daily, you can actually see the focus has been more on AUD pairs. You can see all the AUDs here, but majority of AUDs are actually on the sell side. So we want to also take a look a little bit with AUD, because tools like this gives you a little bit of hint what are the market participation out there. Tools like the top 10 movers, for example, the heat maps, and then your action buys, and various other tools, just to give you a bit of an idea. That's why you are checking one after another tool, just to get an idea of where the flow is. The way the flow is really very important. So here, for example, if you see CAD CHF, you've got 3 dots here. You've got it on the daily, on the weekly, and the monthly, but the rest, it's quite scattered. You don't have 4 dots all the way there. So hence the reason we want to be really careful when we get to the chart as well. When we pick the right pairs, we go into the chart, we have to do another trend analysis to make sure that the pair we are trading, even though for the short term, has got a marathon trend. This is very important. If not, you'll get stuck. Okay, if not, you will ask the question of, okay, I'm stuck on this pair. When could I actually see myself getting back to the trend again? And then it's on a reversal right now, but then again it went into sideways. So we'll have all these kind of emotions riding along a pair that we have picked not rightly from the start. So we have to pick the right pair from the start. That is the most important thing. Okay, so here, for example, we look at all these ones here. AUD is clearly on the list. there a lot. But then on the shorter term, in the 4 hour, for example, between 1 hour and 4 hour, we are looking at a lot of focus on the GBP. But then we want to always pay attention on longer term. So on the longer term, okay, we got mix on the weekly, but then on the daily, for example, anyway between 4 hour and above, it could actually be looking at a lot of Australian dollar focus. We've also got CHF focus right here, a bit of euro, but not too much euro, AUD and CHF mainly, then also USD. So that gives us a little bit of a hint that we need to actually look at what's going on with AUD pairs, with USD pairs, with CHF pairs, also with euro, mainly because of the euro USD pairing, and also with ECB going in to the data calendar, and also the set of 3 for the US. So we want to not miss out on that side of it. Okay, so let's go to the currency heat map, give it a little bit of a look right there in the heat map. So here, I mean, at a glance, you can see that everything seems to be bullish, quite bullish, strongly bullish against the AUD. So that means AUD is on the very low side of it. So here, for example, if we go straight to AUD itself, then you can actually see not so much trend that is building up yet for AUD. So you can forget about AUD for now. And then you want to look at the ones that has got, mostly red columns right there. But JPY NZD, JPY seems to be now on the low side, right? It has actually increased. A lot of pumping of money has come into Japan already when they were in the lockdown and stuff like that since last week, a week and a half ago. So then all the money is already, sort of like transferred and all that going into Japan when crisis happens. So now it's time for it to actually slump down again. So hence the reason you're seeing it weak against most of the currencies, especially against CAD and NZD. So yeah, so here is how we actually want to do it as well, and want to do it right, where we pick out the pairs that hints us some movements and also clear-ish type trend, but we still have to confirm that trend position when we get into the chart. So when we go to action bias, okay, you can see that we have got some straight rows, but not starting from this 1 hour chart here. CHF JPY, for example, clearly it's on the upside for CHF JPY based on this one here. But then when we went, I think on the top movers, maybe that was slightly different there, not sure. It's CAD CHF, it's not CHF JPY. So yeah, that may be a pair to look at, but let's get to the pair right now, and let's get to looking at majors first, and then we shall look at the rest. Okay, so let's look at Euro USD to be the first major that we should look at, especially today, would actually be the Euro USD because of the data that we are expecting as well coming out today. So let me just change that. All right, so let's look at the Euro USD very quickly. It's the most traded pair as well. So I think, whenever we start, we can always start with Euro USD in general. So that gives us a bit of a warm up in terms of knowing, how do we actually start. So how we would actually be starting for any pairs that we've actually picked outside of the chart. We've done our tools, maybe fundamental, read a little bit on the news or anything like that. But when we come back, we need to do another trend. We come back to the chart, we need to do another trend analysis. So very simple. You've got all the 3 lines already there. We'll always start off. It's no problem if you start off the daily or you want to start off with the lower time frame. I prefer starting the lower time frame, and I like to take my time because this is very, very important for you guys. When you guys are already woken up, let's say a couple of hours before me and things like that in different parts of the world, especially, then it is really wise for you guys to still go back to knowing the trend. Trend analysis can be done in two ways, two sections. One is on your chart, The other one is before you reach the chart. And when you, excuse me, and when you look at the overall trend on the heat map, or even through the news or anything like that. Okay, that is one side of the story, but then you need to actually look at matching it with what's going on currently. So now, for example, with Euro USD, we need to be very careful because we have got the ECB rate decision coming up today as well. So we don't know which way it might actually go, but it's probably best for us to build a story from now. Okay, so this way, for example, is the safest way for trend analysis, is to start off with a lower time frame. You can start off with 15 minutes, 30 minutes, doesn't matter. So if you start off with a 30 minutes and you just look at what's going on with the current candle, you can see that it is still uncertain, right? Because number one, you look at two things. You look at the candles, then you look at the three lines. The three lines are showing you there is no clarity of trend because it's going sideways. That is clear. And then you see that the candles hasn't actually even go under the three lines, but the three lines itself should actually be your first type step. And then you look at the candle. The first three lines is showing me there may be a bit of uncertainty in terms of the trend of Euro USD. This matches what's going on today, or what would actually go on today, because the rate decision or anything that is on the economic calendar hasn't come out yet. The results haven't come out yet. The news media stream hasn't digested it, anything. So it's quite reasonable to look at slowing down of the trend, whether it's uptrend, downtrend, everything will slow down and goes into consolidation mode at the moment. That is what the three line is telling us. So then if you move on from 30 minutes to 1 hour, you can see that the three lines from being a little bit on a sideway is moving upwards a little bit. Okay, so this is a very important step for you to take, is when you go from a low time frame, you're going step by step and you're trying to make a story. You need to take your time in doing this, because if not, you'll get trapped in the market. So now you compare the 1 hour with the 4 hour, and you can see that immediately it's giving you a hint that in the shorter term, from 30 minutes right up to the 4 hour chart, the 4 hour is actually 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour to 4 hour, right? The 1 hour is actually 30 minutes to 1 hour. So you are looking at anywhere between 30 minutes to 1 hour only, even though you are looking at the 4 hour time frame. Okay, so now, for example, it's telling me that this short term, they may be still on the uptrend type movement. Trend overall is still uptrend, but short term. Okay, then if I go on to the daily chart, you can see that things are quite uncertain, but the bias is to the upside for the long term, right? So now we have got short term a little bit upside, the long term is upside bias. So we generally still looking at uptrend overall, maybe for the long term, especially when you look at the weekly chart as well. But what is going on right now, if we go on to the 4 hour chart, 4 hour chart is actually your 1 hour in a way. Okay, so when we look at that, we are looking at the current candles. It's telling us that, okay, there may be a correction. So we cannot say that it is on a downtrend now. We have to say that the overall bias is on the upside. It may be correcting now. Okay, maybe coming down. So for those intraday traders like yourself, or even scalping, you can actually ride along the trend for now, not the trend overall, not it's going down, it's going up. You can just ride along what might actually happen for now. So what could actually potentially happen for now is for the candles to actually follow mother candles. Okay, so if it is actually going down for now, it could actually mirror this mother candle right here, or it can actually mirror this mother candle right here. Okay, there you go. So, but the danger is that this is a resistance and this is also a resistance. Okay, so this could actually come down, continue and come down as low as this candle or as this candle, or it could also be correcting itself. So, and then find a support. So how do you actually look at whether or not it could actually be a support? There is a potential support here based on the 4 hour chart. We have got here as a potential support here with a very good bullish candle that push prices up. correct? This is for Euro USD. So if the price is at 2064 right now, we look at the price here, it's very close to 2050 psychological number, this red line. So my conclusion of what could actually happen now is it might actually want to find support here. If it actually goes lower than this line, then it might then want to mirror the downward movement following this candle or this candle if it goes lower. So here would actually be an area that you could actually find support if it actually crosses the 2057. So at this moment of time, it's probably best not to do anything yet until you look at what it wants to do. So if it wants to actually reverse and go upwards, then it might want to take that uptrend move. But it all depends on what's going on in the market to fuel the downward move or to fuel the upward reversal. Okay, so this is not doing anything at this moment of time because it is just too close to the 2050 area as well. And then we've got the support area, potentially support area right here. Okay, so we have a low here and we also have another low here, right? So if prices were to go under the 2034 area here, let's say it pierces through 2057, go lower and lower and pierces through the second line, then it can actually go here. Okay, this mother candle right here. We forget about that one there. We want to look at mother candles only first. So this is another potential support, which is very close to 2000 psychological level. This one here is closer to the 2020 psychological level. This one here is close to the 2050 psychological level. Okay, so let's say that we want to actually take the trade when it comes lower and it comes lower than 2057. So your best price to sell is always at the 2040. If it is closest to 2057 or 50, then you want to only start selling at 2040. The problem with that is that if it is 2040, it will actually start to go really low, right? So let's adjust this one, 2040. So your ideal scenario to sell would actually be at 2040. For those of you who want to take the risk to actually sell earlier, like want to sell now, for example, it's no harm. You can, but you need to understand that there's a risk in doing that, but you need to accept the risk level and then you can actually take the trade still. So some of the traders, what they want to pay more attention is this mother candle here. So if they see this mother candle and then they think that, okay, I think they will start guessing and they will think that it may actually go down. So they could actually be right or they could actually be wrong. And the same for me. I could be right, I could be wrong. For me, I would prefer to actually look at these areas here as potential support because we've got another support here and it's too close. But, you know, maybe there are other techniques out there and other indicators that can actually give the traders more confidence to enter now for the sell. Then it might actually mirror this whole candle here or this candle right here. In my opinion, it could actually mirror either one of it, depending on what fuels the market to push it downwards. Okay, so my suggestion is if you are thinking of selling, the selling price that is good is 2040. But for those who have actually taken already the sell, it's also good because it has actually gone lower than the 2680 psychological number. So if you've got your own ways and strategies that have actually alerted you much earlier to actually enter, then you have taken that trade, then that's also fine. It's just to actually look at what's coming ahead in terms of the risk. So here, if you are looking at selling, then I would only, enter the sell to look at a very strong downtrend. But I doubt the downtrend will actually be too strong for the Euro USD because the bias is more on the upside. And also as it comes downwards, at the 2050 area or the 2020 area, it's too close to either one of the EMAs, and one of the EMAs that it's closer to as it comes down is the 50 EMA as well. So when I mirror the 50 EMA and I look towards the left, I've got a support candle here. I've got another support candle here, and I've got another support candle here. Then as it comes lower, we've got a very big support candle here. So when I look to the left, I see a lot of bullish soldiers more than bearish soldiers. Okay, so I see that the bearish area is sort of limited at this moment of time based on the 4-hour chart. We are talking about Euro USD at the moment. We are seeing a bit of a limit in terms of the sell zone, right? From here, let's say, down to around this area. Okay, so I see that the sell zone could take place around here until maximum price up just at the 1.2000 area. Okay, so this looks like a sell zone for me, but how far would it actually stretch to go down here? I'm not sure, but I see that it might actually find support earlier, either at the EMA line right there, because it mirrors some very bullish candles, bullish mother candles as well. So we want to look at the fuel as well. So in my opinion, for Euro USD, we've got a bit of a short-term type sell, and then it would then reverse and continue the trend to the upside. So if we see that there's a very nice positive data comes out of the data that's going to be coming out from Euro, then it might then justify that this is only a reversal, and then boom, more move to the upside. Okay, so this is for Euro USD. Now, which pair shall we actually look at first, apart from the Euro USD? Shall we go back to the chat there? Give me a second. We've got GBP JPY, GBP NZD, NZD USD, GBP USD. We can take a look at all of it one by one. Let me just write it down as well. NZD USD. Okay, so GBP versus JPY NZD USD, and then we have got NZD USD. Okay, NZD USD. And we also have, yeah, USD JPY is best to look at as well because of what's going on in the market. And then we've got Euro AUD. All right, so let's look at it one by one. Okay, so let's look at it one by one. So I've got, let's see what I have here. I've got we've got GBP. Okay, I've got GBP pair, GBP JPY. So I'm just going to line it up here. GBP USD, GBP JPY, GBP USD, and GBP NZD. So I line up the GBP pairs first. So let's start off with GBP JPY. So I'm just going to clear off all these drawings right here. Okay, so GBP. Now let's see what's going on with this pair. Okay. GBP, JPY. So since we're looking at GBP pairs right here, GBP USD, GBP JPY, and GBP NZD, let's very quickly just look at the heat map as well. And we start off with this one here, just to see what's GBP's up to. We've got low volume, low sort of participation in the market for GBP pairs, but we have GBP CHF, you know, and I think it's biased to the upside. GBP pairs, it's biased to the upside, but the one that is quite active compared to the rest is GBP CHF and Euro GBP. So GBP CHF, maybe you want to look at it as well, but then let's finish the three first, and then we can look at that. So GBP, for example, action bias wise, let's just check. GBP. So we've got GBP USD, you know, nothing there. Other GBP pairs, not so nice. Let's see. GBP USD, not nice. GBP NZD, GBP pairs doesn't look very nice here on the action bias, but on the currency heat map in terms of clarity of trend, let's see. GBP also very mixed in this column right here. So it looks like the participation is not enough. It might not move the market too much on GBP pairs, the way I look at it. See, it's very mixed as well, I think. Let's just see the GBP. Here. You see how mixed it is, all these different colors are there. It's just not really nice. So, okay, let's see whether or not that kind of trend is reflected onto the chart when we do the analysis for these three pairs, GBP, JPY, GBP, USD, and GBP, NZD. So let's look at it. Now, when we look at the daily chart, it's very nice and clear. GBP, JPY, we're looking at nice and clear to the upside. Very nice, clear, upward type momentum. We look at it at 151.19, only one pip away for 151.20. So will there be a reversal to come downwards? We don't know that yet. So it looks very nice and clear to the upside. If we see the 4-hour as well, 4-hour is more all sideways. 1 hour, for example, also not very clear. But what we can actually see is that it gets clearer only on the upside, on the higher time frame. On the daily chart, seems to be clear on the upward type momentum. On the weekly, again, not clear. So we've only got one time frame on the daily chart. Basically, it's the 4-hour chart in some ways or another, that it is actually trending on the upside. But this upside is not backed up by clarity of trend in the other time frame. We only have that one time frame. So this one time frame is showing us, okay, it could actually be on the upside. But the problem is that when we look to the left, it has already approached resistance here. Okay, it's not very good news. This resistance is quite strong in a way because it's got a nice wick up there. So here we that upward type movement may actually be a little bit weak. But then if we look to the left, it may actually be motivated to go down because of this mother candle right here. So we've got a bit of a selling zone. If we use this mother candle right here as a guidance, you can see that if it were to come down, it should actually come down under the 150.80 area. So if you were to actually sell on the GBP JPY, then you want to look at selling price at 150.70, right? So this is the selling zone at the moment. There's no selling or buying zone for now, because I look at the left, I don't see something that is quite good to look at this moment of time. But I can see that if it were to reverse, for example, following this resistance area right here. Now this resistance area, if you look at it, you've got some candles there, but let's see whether we can actually look to the left a little bit. Okay, go into the weekly chart, and then I just want to look for hints on the current price at this moment of time. It's still looking quite strong, even on the weekly chart. On the single candle itself, looks like it's got more momentum to want to go up. Okay, so but if this goes up based on the weekly chart, if we look to the left, because if we were to go on to the daily chart, these movements here are not very clear in the daily chart. So weekly chart, very clear. So that actually means that if it actually goes up a little bit more, it might find resistance here as well. Now that area would actually be at the 151.68. Oh, 151.60s area, right? Then if it continues to actually go up and go up to respect this mother candle here, it could actually go up maximum, I think, about 152.80 area. So yes, we do have about 50 to 100 pips potential to the upside for the GBP JPY. Okay, but it is actually quite this is the chance for it to be on the upside for the daily chart. But the problem is that when we went to the daily chart as well, we see that it's really close to the resistance area right there. So maybe it may be due for reversal first and then pick up to go up. So, but for now, let's see whether or not we have any divergence, okay? Because the daily chart is showing us uptrend overall. So we go into the indicator and we pull the, let's see, not the average direction movement index, the stochastic, for example, just to see whether we've got a bit of a divergence going on. Now here, this high reflects that high. Now this high, for example, let's just go make it a little bit bigger. This high and this high is a downward slope, but this high and the current price right now is of almost the same level. Okay, so we've got same, almost same level right there. Okay, I put it down a little bit. Okay, it's exactly on the same level, but this one here is a slope down. It's a lower high. So that does actually tell me that maybe a bit of a reversal going on, or could actually be expected on the reversal. But let us now go and insert the um, RSI as well, just so that we can actually draw the trend line based on the RSI. So you can draw your trend line here as well, but here gives you a little bit of clarity. Instead of you changing your candlestick chart into a line chart, you want to use candlestick chart there and use this RSI 5 as your line, for example. Now here on the GBP JPY, if I were to connect the top, that peak to that peak, that's 2 touch point, I can see that it favors the upside. So there may be, it is still wishy-washy here. It's not really very clear. Okay, so picking the GBP JPY will put you into a kind of a mental trap, because it's not the pair for today in terms of the morning to actually pick it, because it's going to cause some confusion, because it hasn't actually picked up the clarity of trend yet. But for now, it looks like it could actually even go up. It could actually even reverse, because the indicators are lagging. We cannot actually rely on them. So we will get to this situation if we actually pick the pair that has got not enough clarity and not enough liquidity for the pair. So at this moment of time, I mean, to me personally, it's risky. Meaning that it might actually, the uptrend might actually reverse, in my opinion, because of the 15120 psychological number. We've got this one here as well. On the downside kind of play for the GBP JPY would be a little bit better than the upside. But again, this is not really a very strong justification. But here with the RSI, it shows the preference of the market is still to the upside. So it might not reverse, it might reverse very little, but it might not also reverse and then go up. And when it goes up, then you want to look at your mother candle. If you're asking where the TP is or where the entry is, you use the entry based on psychological number. I always use my entry psychological number. So if, for example, we're looking at a bit of a buy potential, obviously you cannot buy now. You have to buy at 15130, right? Because 15120 is a psychological number. So the entry price will be 15130. And then where do you exit? You base on the mother candle right here. And then you look at maybe another time frame as well, to look at whether or not you've got other mother candle. If you don't have the mother candle, then you can use exactly psychological numbers only. But it's probably better to actually base your exit on mother candle on the left as well, just so that you know there is power to go up to that level. If there's no power, then you might get caught with a reversal again. Okay, so this is for GBP JPY. All right, any questions on GBP JPY? If not, we'll move on to GBP USD. Most of the pairs revolving GBP is looking like it's favoring the downside at this moment of time. So let's see. Okay, cool. So we go on to GBP USD right now. I'm going to clear off all these drawings right here. Okay, so here it's quite clear on GBP USD on the 4-hour chart, mainly because you have got concentrated price here that has built a very strong resistance. Okay, so you've got all this touch point here, resistance of all this one here. Many weeks it has actually touched as well. So it has built the resistance at 3906 area, which is close to 3900 psychological number. Okay, thank you, Roy. All good. Yeah, brilliant. So then we see that we have got downward type bias, but again, you can find small support at any one of these three EMA lines, your EMA 50, 100, or 200. Okay, and looks like it blocked up here. So all this support here, see this resistance here, very strong. Okay, so I'm going to use this as my reference point as well, and put it down to the highest body here, and then the highest wick right there, so that I can have a bit of a zone. Okay, so this zone touch all these wicks right here, resistance zone basically. So I want to then put this area in focus, because sometimes we don't want to look for things too much, but we want to see what exists right in front of us first. Okay, so that is a very, very important tip that I would give the traders, is to always look at what you notice first. Don't try to look at too many things and overcomplicate the analysis first. So like, for example, for GBP USD right now on the 4-hour chart, I can see it straight away that you need to pay a lot of attention and respect to this resistant area. And if we zoom out, you can see that resistant area here, resistant area here, you've got some more, all the resistance and support concentrated at this area that we have just highlighted. So it is a very strong resistance. So very likely it is favoring the downside from that resistant area. That resistant area is really strong. Okay, so then we want to look at the direction for GBP USD more to the downside. Now when we look at the downside, we want to look at the power of mother candles to the left. You've got mother candles to the left here, you've got mother candles to the left here, right? So that actually means that if it were to pull prices down for GBP USD, we're looking at the 4-hour chart only, it could actually come down to the closing price of that mother candle. It can come down to the closing price of this mother candle here, which is much earlier. It can come to the mother candle that is the longest one that I can see right now from this view, is this one here. We don't want to go further. We want to see mother candle that are a bit more significant, more powerful, following the current price that is touching the body of these big mother candles. So then we know that, okay, you could actually find support anyway between these three, anywhere with either one of these red lines right here. Okay, so there you go. So this is basically what could potentially happen, is for you to find a reversal and for the GBP USD to play along in this area. Now we go on to finding more data in a higher time frame. So in a higher time frame, we want to also focus on the things that you can actually notice. Now, if we look at here, and then we look to the left, we can see you've got a mother candle here, but you also have a bullish candle here, which basically means that you could also find support there, right? It can also, now the other line, we don't need to, because it's actually on that mother candle, bearish mother candle there. So in other words, it could find support in any one of these lines, but it depends on how strong the trend is. Now, GBP USD, if I want to make a story out of the trend, then I need to start off with the short time frame. I would say, let's say you start off with 30 minutes chart. You can see that the bias is to the downside, but then the clarity of trend is not reflected by the 3 EMAs. Then you go on to the 1-hour chart. On the 1-hour chart, it starts to be slanting to the upside a little bit, but still not clear, still sideways. 4-hour chart, it looks like it's just tilting a little bit, but again, not clear. And then on the daily chart, you see it biased to the upside. So this actually means that anything that is happening right now may be a correction to the downside in order for it to push to the upside maybe later on, but that is for the long term. Okay, so this is basically what it is. If we go on to the 1-hour chart, let's say 4-hour chart, and use your RSI, on the RSI itself, you can see that you've got a bit of a sideways zigzag movement here. But then if we were to attach this low to this low, put it all the way there, we can see that this uptrend line has been broken already. This is 4-hour. That means the bias is on the downside. Okay, but again, when you look at the downside, you want to also be sure what's going on the left. It's just that if I were to look at the daily chart, I can see that my downside preference to sell the GBP USD will be quite limited as well in this area. I would say the maximum would actually be 3860. You should exit either at 3860 or 3830, okay, to exit. If you ask me where you buy, where do you actually enter, always think about the psychological number. When you want to talk about entry price, you look at psychological number, okay? So right now, 3865, is it a good price to sell? No, it's not a good price to sell. You're selling good price to sell is at 3840 because it needs to be under the 3850 psychological number. If you want to take the risk and you want to enter the sell now, then you sell now with your own price. That means you take the risk to sell now. That is basically entirely up to yourself. So whenever traders are asking about the entry price, please take a look at the price, especially for currencies, okay? Take a look at the price and then look at it from the psychological perspective, whether or not it is ideal for you to enter or exit using the psychological numbers. Because psychological numbers, you want to use it only for entry and exit, only for entry and exit, okay? So it's not ideal selling price right now, but again, it's up to you. It's your risk. If you want to take it, there may be a bit of volume to sell right now with that price, and then to take profit at either one of this closing price of this mother candle. You can see it's going into bearish territory with bearish mother candles as well. You see it lay out here, but then look at all these ones here. All these are quite powerful, okay? So it's coming into the bearish territory already. It's got one powerful bullish area right there based on this closing of this opening of mother candle right there, but that is at 3824. So basically the 3820 psychological number needs to be respected because we have got a mother candle there. So let's say, give you a scenario, you want to sell now, and you sell now, but make sure you exit, before that mother candle, or I would say a little bit earlier, this area right here, this area, this mother candle, not as long, but it gives you a sense of support right there at 3836. So let's say 3838, you want to exit there, okay, and but sell now. If you are selling now, then that's it. If you want to actually sell later on, following psychological number entry, then you want to sell only at 3840. But if you sell at 3840, then you're looking at not too much pips as well if you want to take that as your take profit. Okay, so this is for GBP USD. So now let's move on to GBP NZD. Now, GBP NZD, let's clear off everything here. Any questions for the GBP USD? Okay, cool. So entry, please remember, I only entry with psychological numbers. So you need to be sure to watch the videos and all that. I'll be releasing loads of videos on different techniques and psychological number videos specifically, and everything else on the Bretton.Institute website for members. Okay, so we will have all of the videos, relevant videos on what you want to revise on specific area, how you use psychological numbers, how you draw trend line, how do you use the ADX, for example, in relation to the pattern, all that under tools or indicators to help you sharpen your trading will actually be all in video, very short video format, so that you can do your revision at any moment of time. And I will keep adding new videos for new techniques or things that you can actually use to sharpen your trading. Okay, so GBP NZD is next. Now, when we look at GBP NZD, let's see if I go on to the daily chart. I can see you've got this whole movement downwards, okay? So you've got lower highs and lower low, but not lower low yet here. So there may be a little bit of reversal. We don't know that yet, right? So, but now the price is at 19261. So let's say if I want to lay out very quickly the psychological level first, then I'll just lay out one number at the top above the current price at 9280. So I know that 9280 is the psychological level that the price will bump into if it goes upwards. Okay, so 9280, that's one. Okay, so we just want to take a look as well always where the current price is trapped under. And then if it were to move downwards, the current price, then it will actually bump into the 9250 area. So we've got 9250 as well. So we've got 9250. So 9250 is there. Okay, so we've got 9280 and 9250. It needs to break out 9280 and break out so many other barriers, especially the three EMA lines, in order for GBP and ZD to give you the push to go up. If it goes through, and let's say we have got a very big news that have actually pushed GBP and ZD to the upside, and it has gone, number one, it has gone above 9280, and then it gone above all the three lines, then yes, you might find an opportunity for buying based on this zone right here. Okay, this zone, because of the candle, right? The mother candle on the left. That's the most obvious one. So we don't need to go too far, to go and scroll. If you don't find enough data for what you can see, then you scroll and you go to the left, But here, this is enough at the moment, especially on the daily chart. So this is your buy zone. I'll change it to the blue color, right? There you go. So you've got support that can actually start, but from the opening of this mother candle will probably be better for the buy side of it, right? So let's see where that is now. That started at 93.55, so very good. Coincidentally, it's quite close to the 93.50 psychological number. So your buying price should actually be, this can actually be a pending order on the buy side for GBP and ZD, but I look at it and I see that the bias is actually more on the downside. I'll tell you what else I noticed as well for GBP and ZD. Give me a second. So the buy will only be later, the ideal buying price of entry GBP and ZD, if it were to actually, I'm only talking about the scenario if something drives the market with fundamental fuel, for example, and pushes price up, and then it penetrates all these three lines, and then you can see that it's picking up, then you can say that it would actually enter this blue area. Then you can actually think of a buy, but now it's too early to do that. Now, for what I can see, just as the eye could actually see it on the daily chart, you can see that this whole movement, the downward movement, you can see this downward movement, let's say from the high here right to the low here, that's about 600 plus pips. So this 600 plus pips, right? We say you've got 10, 20, 30 candles. I don't know how many roughly here, but out of all that, majority, more than 60+% of these whole cluster of candles are actually bearish candle. And then out of all these bearish candle, we can actually see that majority, more than 50%, are actually very bearish, very strong bearish candle. But then when we look at the upside is not very strong as the downside. Okay, the downside are more candles, the upside less candle, and not as strong as the bearish type candle. So in other words, it's biased to the downside more. But if we zoom out GBP and ZD, we can see that it's sort of stuck around here. Now the current price is already here, stuck between 1.9280 and 9250. So if you want to look at more selling pressure, then I would think that it would actually need to go under the 9250. But this is something I want to let you guys know. I think GBP and ZD has got some bearish type movement as well as bullish, but now it is actually consolidating and it's actually in a uncertainty type mode. All right, but if we see that there is a lot of selling pulling it down. You need to be very careful if it start to come down as well. You've got some very strong support area. Okay, so it needs to also cross over from here, needs to cross over and go under 9180 and under, then I think it will actually have more impact to come down. Because if you look to the left a little bit, your bearish powerful candle only starts later on. So that bearish or bullish candles, if you see many of those on the left, that is what's going to drive the trend, and it's going to build the trend and solidify the trend for that direction at that moment of time. Okay, so that is one here, but I don't see many. Okay, so if I go onto the weekly chart and then I turn a bit, then I can see that it's actually quite limited. Okay, on the sell. It's like a game in a way where you can actually see opponent A and opponent B. So you've got a match between buyers and sellers, the B and the S. Okay, S are for sellers, B are for buyers, let's say. Then if it goes downwards and all that, if it does actually break through this area, I see that something might actually trigger a buy for GBP and ZD, because you see all the prices are concentrated in this area for the support, and they are quite powerful support. You see this support mirrors this area mirrors this area, and in each area of support, even this one here is almost the same level, and each area of support has got a powerful bullish candle. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and then now 5 as well. So I think it's if it doesn't actually come down a lot and it start to reverse, then I see that something in the fundamentals might fuel it and then it will go up. But if it does actually break out under 9180 and under, like 9170 and under, then it may actually want to respect this candle here, almost the same level as well. So it might come down a bit. I don't know how much, but you can actually take one candle at a time, okay, to look at it. And then we have more bearishness as you pull it. Then you've got some, but it has to go under 9180 first, and then fueled by something in the market. But my guess is maybe there may be a bit of a surprise whereby it might come down a little bit and then it start to rise up, and then have some opportunity to buy first before it come down lower, perhaps, because we also have a resistance here for GBP and ZD. So that is basically how you deal with the market for now. GBP and ZD, not to do anything yet. If it does actually break out from certain level, giving you clarity of upward or downward, then only you take it. For now, it's a bit risky, GBP and ZD. Okay, guys, what other pairs should we actually take a look at? GBP, once we covered, let's look at USD JPY. Okay, it's one of the majors. All right, so USD JPY. Okay. Right. If I go straight onto daily chart, I can see that you've got a very strong candle to the upside. You can see that the upward movement is taking over at the moment. It is actually on a bullish run. As it goes upwards, you just want to monitor this area right here, which are made of loads of resistant candles, wicks especially. So you want to take into account the closing price right there. Okay. There, and also the wicks. So the highest body I can see and the highest wick there. So I've got a range between 109.12 to 109.30 area. So 109.20, you can say that it's a psychological level right there. So right now it is approaching the 109.13 area right there. So we can see that it's on the upside. The bias is on the upside, the candle movement as well. If I go into the weekly chart, I can see that there's a lot of movement that wants to go up rather than come down, mainly because if you go into the weekly chart itself, you can see that the mother candle, that mother candle looks really small, right? But if we we just look at that current mother candle and we measure in terms of pips from opening price to current. It's already 100 plus pips, just that length. It looks small, right? But 100 pips movement. So we have a bullish type area. If we look to the left, you've got a little bit of expectation. The closing price of this mother candle is at the 109.50s area. So you know that you can trade from now on the upside up to 109.50 as a bit of a limit or resistance area. So you can take that risk if you want to buy. So if you ask me again, where you should enter? Again, you look at the current price, you adjust that to the psychological level and you decide. If you don't want to adjust to the psychological level, you want to trade now, you take the risk as well to entry. So you've got two choices in terms of entry. You can actually use a psychological number to guide you, or you don't use a psychological number and you just want to enter now. So that is the two options that you actually have as a trader to trade. Okay, so that's basically it. Because I think I'm one of very few to actually trade using psychological numbers for entry. And I've been doing that for more than 8 years now. And it has actually been really good because it helped me pick the right price, ideal price to buy or to sell. Okay. So then here you are looking at price at 109.00. So 109.10 is already passed, so you cannot buy at 109.10. It's now at 109.12 or 109.13. So the next psychological number is 109.20, right? So you need to buy above. If you are into the buying, you want to buy above the 109.20. So 109.30 is your next buying price. The only problem is that your resistance here is 109.50. So 109.30 and 109.40, it's 10 pips there. If at all you see that that's a worth one to take, maybe it will end up to be 8 pips or 7 pips because of the spreads, for example. But then if you've got a fuel in the market fueling the price to drop for JPY a lot, for Japan, a lot of negative news and a lot more positivity. Let's say the set of 3 has come in and then the media has actually given us a lot of positivity, then you can actually look at a breakout here and then plan, okay, I've got this area here to exit. It's already past this area, let's say it's already past this area. Okay. And that is the 109. Okay, let's say your buying price 109.60, because once it actually moves, then your 109.60 could actually be an ideal entry price. Then you want to look at exiting here or here. Okay, but this, I think it's almost the same level. Yeah. So you want to take it lower following this one here. So you can exit at 110.40 if it is following that, but your entry will be 109.60 upon breakout of 109.50 area, because you want to go above this area first. This is your resistance area, right? So 109.60 you buy, 110.40 you actually exit. So that is for that round, and then you can take some more rounds and go above this one. This is 110.7, let's say 110.80. So 110.90 is your next entry, for example. So 110. No, 109.90, not 110, 109, 110. Let's see, we take that one in there. This one here is 110. Yeah, it is 110. So 110.90. It's your next one. That's for the future. But again, it's too high. Wait, I think I've done a mistake there. 110. Yeah, it's not looking that good as well. So you want to exit, then you need to exit at the closing, at the opening price of that mother candle right there. So 111 is 111.30. Okay, you can actually take it at 111.40 perhaps. So 111.40, let's say. So then your 110.90 is your buying price for that area. But that is a bit too soon to think of that side unless until we see a breakthrough here first. So yeah, in my guess, there may be some fuel to the upside, depending on the set of 3 fuel. So we want to prepare on the upside as well, that maybe you've got some buying opportunity there. 111 10960, and then you want to exit there. Okay, so you've got it right there, 11040. So I'll just mark it 11040. There you go. So you've got 10960 and 11040 as your buy, perhaps a pending order right there. Okay, about 81 pips or so. Okay, so by 80 pips. So that's not too bad, but it all depends on how it's fueled by the fundamentals. Okay, guys, any other questions? You guys okay so far? Any questions at all? Perhaps we take a look at another one. I think Euro AUD, perhaps. Okay, good. So another one at Euro AUD. Let's see. Okay, Euro AUD. 1 hour chart shows that very high resistance right there, but you go to the daily chart, see what's going on. It's trapped at the moment. It's a bit uncertain in terms of the trend. Let's see. If I were to connect that with that, it's approaching a resistance, perhaps, because you see it's just there. Either it breaks out from that trend line or not. Daily chart, weekly chart, uncertain but bias to the downside. Let's build a story. 30 minutes. Upside bias with some limit in this area, and then on the 1 hour, yes, a bit on the high side as well. It wants to go up, but it's approaching some resistance zone. So we've got resistance zone here, mirroring that one there. So I will take this one down here. This one is at 55.96. So 56.00 is your psychological level, as well as an area to really pay a lot of attention, not only because it's a psychological number, but because that psychological number is pointing out to a lot of very powerful resistance as well. So there is a potential of a reversal there. You see that very long wick to the upside as well, of a previous candle. Then we've also got, I mean, if it does actually move a little bit higher as well, the price, if it does go beyond 56.00, you need to also look at this area, 5620 psychological number as well, because that's where the significant resistance are. So just to be on the safe side, if you're looking at buying potential, I think we need to wait until it crosses through 5600 and 5620. So 5630 onwards would probably be a better price to buy. And then you can look at that mother candle right there, which basically ended here. And that is at 5662. Not much. You've got some pips there to make if you want to from there. Okay, but not just now, because it might actually reverse. And want to look at reversal, then we go on to the stochastic to look at whether or not you've got a divergence. So here, for example, this one here, if we look at the peak, there is divergence. Potentially, let me just check that. Okay, this is the same length, same sort of level here, and then this one is a bit higher. So potentially, yes, potentially there is a bit of a divergence, not very clear, but there is some divergence right there. Not on the 1 hour chart, but daily chart potentially, yes. This is same, sort of almost same level. This one is more slopey to the downside, but again, it's quite subjective in that area. So yeah, based on price action alone, I think you have to be very careful with the price. Let it go above first, this area will probably be more ideal. Yeah, if it goes above this zone or under it, then it would probably be better. But if it were to actually go downwards for Euro AUD, then it needs to go under all the three lines as well. Then it may actually respect all this bearish candle. But at this moment of time, let's see what happens at this stage. First, because it's reflecting the Euro and the AUD and might be driven with the ECB's decision today as well. Okay, on the data. All right, there you go, guys. Yeah, any questions on Euro AUD? Bias is sort of the downside, but not clear because the candles are trading in between the three lines. And the bias is more on the downside in terms of the positioning of the candles under all three lines, but the trend is not very clear. So not an ideal one, in my opinion, will trap you into this trade if you are looking at it. Okay, all right, guys. I think that's all I have for you guys. If you guys have got no questions, then we'll end this session today, and we'll see you on Friday in the Friday's market wrap-up session. So come up with loads of questions, and any questions at all about your current trade as well is most welcome, and also with trades that you are considering yourself, and we can see how we can guide you through. Okay, guys, take care. Thank you very much. Have a great week, and we're already in the middle of the week, and have a good day ahead. And we'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you, guys, once again. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.